Oh shit, I think we're live. It's okay.
Yeah,
It's
it's
okay.
giving you 40%.
Live streaming isn't available again. What does that mean? What the frick? Playback error. Huh. I swear, like, YouTube's been acting up lately for me. Not sure why. Even like when viewing. Um,
Weird.
not sure if I'm live. Bundy, Bundy, Bundy.
I mean, if you
All
if
right, I
you're
think I'm
live,
live.
you can drop me a link.
I'm gonna get in trouble for that. It's okay. I love my Indian followers. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, especially Indian Jew.
Yeah, Indian Jew. That guy's a legend. You see that guy? Who is? Which one of you is Indian Jew? Come on, man. All right, here. Let me get the link. Indian Jew. I remember there was North Korean Jew too. That
Oh
was
yeah, I remember that
you
one.
remember that guy?
Yeah, but
North Korean Jew.
Indian Jew is even better.
Indian Jew. Yeah, I gotta keep an eye on that guy. The only guy cheaper than me out here. Indian Jew. I am live. B Roots in the house. Oh, that's the Mortal Kombat guy. What's up? Wogs trailing. Wagwan. Wogs
Oh
trailing.
yeah, I got it too.
Yeah, you got it?
Gonna drop the link to the dojo as
Drop it
well.
out. We are live. It's live. What's Pundy doing? Yeah, let's see. Did it get to 100 yet? Pundy. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Here we go. Okay. So, I don't want to be on this forever, but if you guys have kept up with YouTube, even I wrote an article on the website kjcryptodojo.com, kind of comparing 2017 to what we're in right now, and you could even go back and call it 2016, because I think that we're more like late 2016 in the cycle, in my opinion, maybe early 17 at this point. But Uniswap was something that we've been talking about for a while now, like a while. And I brought it up on Cointelegraph. Now we're seeing people actually start to pay attention after that compound pump. But compound wasn't the only thing on there. And when I originally brought it up, I mean, Stillman Crypto was the one who told me about it. I didn't even know what it was. We saw the Unibright pump. Unibright had gone crazy, and then Stillman started to tell me about DeFi and all these things. And at that point, I was like, I wouldn't say I was closed to the concept of this stuff being having some sort of value or anything, but I was skeptical. I was definitely skeptical. So the more we kind of researched Uniswap, the more it was like, holy shit, this is literally like Ether Delta. Coins are doing 20, 30 X's. And regardless of what they're worth or anything like that, it's pretty clear to me, and has been for like a couple months now, that that's the game that you want to be playing, because it's scarce, meaning not many people are actually on there. Once the crowd kind of catches on to that, it's not going to be as easy. But just kind of similar to Ether Delta in 2017, for those that don't know, Ether Delta was one of the clunkiest. I mean, it was one of the earlier decentralized exchanges. I think BitShares was early too, and that one was pretty shitty. But Ether Delta was the one that people used to kind of sell their ICO tokens before hitting main exchanges. But if you've traded on IDAX and like complain about that, this was like a million times more difficult to use, less reliable. But with that inefficiency also came massive pumps. I mean, we're talking like 10x in a day type pumps. Crazy shit was going on there. And then once everybody kind of got wind of it and learned how to use it, the performance wasn't as good on there anymore. So I still think that there is a window of opportunity on this, and in this stream, Stillman is way better educated at this than I am. So I'm gonna kind of let him do his thing, and kind of take us through how to use this thing, what it's all about, and kind of give you the inside track on how to get involved. So without any further ado, I will turn it over to you, my friend Stillman. I am on the Uniswap info homepage. What am I looking at?
Yeah, so this, I would recommend using this as your landing page for Uniswap. You can see here like the Ethereum price on there at the moment, the total liquidity, the volume. As you can see, those are pretty respectable numbers
Yeah.
for a site that is as simplistic as we're going to find out how simplistic it looks in a minute. And something that I noticed is that all these swap platforms and liquidity aggregators are doing a pretty good job of sucking up the liquidity in crypto. Like as this goes forward, you will see liquidity leave centralized exchanges more and more because people are getting incentivized to park their dollars in these protocols. Like on a centralized exchange, you get nothing, right? Here you can put your liquidity in a smart contract, and you are part of the exchange, and you can earn fees on the swaps that happen on the pools that you provided liquidity to. So yeah, so that's a pretty compelling value proposition, and I think this will only increase in velocity as time goes on.
So when you say providing liquidity, can you
Mhm.
define that for the audience? Like what exactly are you doing?
Sure. Depends a bit on the protocol you're using. On Uniswap, for example, you can go to each pair. If you scroll down a little bit on this side, they got like the top liquidity pairs on there. And you could, for example, go to DAI Ethereum and go on trade, and that will take us to the place where the magic happens.
Ah, this.
Yeah, I'm waiting a bit for the stream to catch up so I can see it where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how
Swap
the delay is going here. It's not there yet. So let me just open it on my screen. Okay. So went to DAI Ethereum. And currently we don't have a wallet connected. You can do that in the top right.
I gotta make a new MetaMask. I forgot my password.
Yeah, if you click on that, you can see how it
Connect to
allows you
wallet.
to go with
MetaMask.
MetaMask
You
to
can use a
connect your
Coinbase wallet though.
wallet. Yeah, even.
Ah.
And once you've done that, you basically choose pairs. Like you could go on DAI and you get a drop down menu and it gives you other tokens. All of these are ERC20 tokens. You could put in this swap pair, and you could swap it for Ethereum, or you can choose it the other way around, swap Ethereum for DAI, and once you've done that and you connected a wallet, it will show you the average price you are getting down below, and it's as simple as that. And then you hit swap, you do some confirmations on your MetaMask, which I would secure with a ledger usually. You hit those confirmations, you are allowed to adjust the spread a little bit. So, for example, on these hype listings that have happened here, like Compound was a big one, Balancer, you had to be very, very quick, and people usually ramp up the allowed spread quite a bit, so they get their orders filled. That's something that's important if you want to do these timing plays basically on here.
Right.
So
So what
that's
are you
basically.
risking in essence by providing liquidity for this?
So far we didn't provide liquidity, right? Like we just went on here. We had some DAI or Ethereum in our wallet. We can swap that for something else, and that's it, right? We pay a small fee. The fees are
So
relatively
it's
low.
kind of like what's that thing? The one that it was like the scammy thing. That guy. What the hell was that? You know what I'm talking. It was like
The
an
scammy
instant.
thing
It
could
was
be
like an
everything in
instant
crypto.
swap kind of wallet, but it was more well known. I'm trying to remember what it was called. They still have it, but
Yeah, you gotta get back on that when you remember
yeah,
the name. I'm
yeah,
not
I
sure.
forgot what that was called.
So something that's pretty cool is the fees are relatively low. Um, Currently, the Ethereum network poses a problem where transactions sometimes don't confirm or they get stuck because Ethereum is like on its knees again. Like it's 3 years since the last big hype, and unfortunately, Ethereum is not yet ready to scale. So occasionally, the Ethereum fees would like amount to something meaningful. On Uniswap, it's okay. If you do the more complex DeFi operations, it can get pretty expensive. Like one of those weeks, I spent like 0.6 Ethereum on transaction fees in a couple of days. It was pretty crazy. So that was like during the compound mining time. So I'll get to that in a bit. So back to Uniswap, right? We can swap our tokens here. This is like unlike Ether Delta, this smart contract doesn't belong to one person that just accrues all the fees. This is truly decentralized. So if we go to the pool tab, you can join a pool, or you could create your own pool with, for example, a token that isn't listed yet. With unlisted tokens, you can also just input the smart contract that you find on Etherscan to do swaps if there's pools there, or you can create your own pool.
So like, what is a swap? You're just swapping one token for the other, and then
Yeah,
who
like
decides
like
the ratio, like the price?
so when you want to provide liquidity to a Uniswap pool, let's say like here on Ethereum and DAI, you have to provide the same value in Ethereum as you provide in DAI. You got to go 50-50. And the pool maintains that 50-50 stability in value. So if one side empties, the other side gets more expensive. Sorry, the other side gets cheaper. Like if one side empties, that side gets more expensive, so the value stays on a 50-50, like Pareto. Is that Pareto? No, 50-50. What do you call that? Equilibrium, right?
Right.
So it's relatively simple and genius. And since this is not like disconnected from the rest of the market, you will have like arbitrage happening. That's actually a big use case for all these decentralized finance protocols. So the efficiency of price maintenance is actually pretty high. So yeah, so that was the pool side. When you want to join a pool, you gotta, for example, something that is like a good trick in the playbook for this is if you're early on like the next hype token that somebody lists here on Uniswap, and you buy some, you're like among the first people buying it.
Right.
It's reasonable to keep a certain amount of Ethereum in your wallet, because afterwards you maybe want to provide liquidity to that pool. So when the herd comes in and the volume comes, you can actually earn Ethereum in fees by providing liquidity to that pool. So, and that can also be a pretty elegant way of scaling out when there's a lot of demand for that token you have. You actually, like, as the pool rebalances, you will end up with more Ethereum than than you had before, plus the fees, and you will get less out of the other side of the tokens. They become more valuable. You will get less out, maintaining the 50-50 balance. That can actually be a pretty elegant way of scaling out of a position while also getting paid in fees for the trades that these people are doing. And at some point in time, you just, take it all out if you want to. I haven't experienced that yet, but people that I know have been like caught in these pools. They mentioned like keywords like liquidity crisis. I haven't researched that yet, and so far it didn't happen to me. But that's something I'm going to research and something we got to keep in mind.
Liquidity crisis. That's when there is no more buyers or sellers to even get you out of it. So now you're just stuck there.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's how it works, because usually you should be able to withdraw from the pool at any time. So that's something I need to to
Yeah,
research a bit.
curious to hear
But I
those.
wanted to mention it, like this is not risk free. Okay,
Yeah,
let's talk about risks.
yeah,
um, Obviously, these are smart contracts, and smart contracts can be attacked. Most of the like successful protocols right now have been vetted very thoroughly. So I wouldn't call the risk super high at this point in time, but you need to remember that as more liquidity enters these protocols, they become more valuable targets, and the incentives for better and better hackers rise, that are going to spend more time on finding vulnerabilities. So you are still, by supplying your these pools with liquidity, you are locking your funds into smart contracts, and you don't have custody of those funds anymore. So that's something to keep in mind. Don't go all in on like yield farming. We'll get to that next, but with all your life savings, because it could be gone the next minute. There actually have been some pretty interesting exploits over the past weeks that weren't exactly hacks, but there were very smart ways of emptying pools. So that can happen. You need to be careful in that regard. But yeah, aside from liquidity providing, this is just a super simple and I'd say relatively noob friendly way, or like inviting to noobs to buy and sell tokens. The
right.
way that the price increase happens, since you don't have a chart, you don't have order books, can lead to some
Fat
frenzy like
fingering.
buying, and that's like one of the mechanics that is responsible for these huge gains that some of these shitcoins made on Uniswap over the
Just
past
the
month.
FOMO, people pressing buttons and not realizing what they're doing, and
Exactly.
yeah,
They ramp up the spread, and you can have price increases happen very, very quickly. Also dumps, obviously. And this maybe is a good opportunity. Also, one last thing that I want to mention is we are here on stream. Let me check.
I'm just on DIF. I was on Comp's chart for a second.
I didn't even look at that.
Oh,
Yeah. So um, were you on this screen the whole time, or were you on the trade one?
I was kind of bouncing around a bit.
Good, good. So yeah, you can go to the charts, to Uniswap
So
Vision.
Sam Sim says, "Why is this lending like BitConnect? What the fuck is this?" I don't know if I would call it BitConnect, because
No,
it's a
I mean
smart
it's
contract.
it's it is truly
There is
decentralized.
there is nobody. It's not owned by anybody. It's just
Exactly.
just people doing decentralized finance. Which it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And come on, Stillman. How do people get rich? I want to know how to make a 20x. How would you go about doing that? Is it basically you're looking for something that's not listed anywhere and getting the first crack at it when people want to dump their bag, and then you get filled? Or
Yeah,
is
yeah.
there
Basically,
as far as like the farming and providing liquidity, you're not going to hit 20x doing that, right?
no. It's a nice amplifier when you
Right.
actually struck gold already, and it can be an elegant way of scaling out. Although it can also scale you out too early, you know.
Right. Right.
So you need to be mindful of that. So
It's fucking bullish.
this thing, Uniswap.vision, somebody like a dev on Twitter who is actually a hex maximalist, I think,
Holy shit.
made this trading view integration, and it's pretty awesome. Like you don't have all the tokens on Uniswap on this. You only have like a drop down menu of like 20, I think. But you can contact him and ask him to add more contracts. So this is very useful. Compound, obviously, that was one of the big hypes.
Yeah, Compound. You were on that one. That's what made me really start to pay attention when I saw what that did. Made
Yeah,
Compound. Just wild.
yeah,
Charles Reed was
and
on that too. They're both on
and
that.
it was that was really like it listed, um, went to $50 pretty quickly, then went to 320, then back down to 60, I think. Um, and and then it just got the
Yeah, I mean,
Coinbase
this shit is
listing.
real, guys. Like, look, it got listed on Coinbase too, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
now it's in an interesting shockwave. I mean, it
it
has a pretty
is
large market
definitely.
cap, so
Um,
right?
so so how do we structure this? Let's talk about Compound for a second. So Compound is a different decentralized finance protocol that actually like I was aware of that before the comp listing happened. Um, because I was following the right people for a while that were pretty immersed in the space.
Mm-hmm.
And Compound is quote unquote just a governance token. So it
This is
is
voting.
yeah, it is they had like seed investors who have like a ton of it, but other than that, by using the platform, you get rewarded in Compound, and the vision behind that, the ideal situation would be that in the future, as the token emission goes on, the users of the platform would have voting rights to vote for changes on the protocol. And the voting already happens. You can delegate your votes to somebody that you trust, or that you like. You can check for like voting histories of certain voters, and you can delegate your votes to them, or you can vote yourself. And Compound is also a liquidity aggregator that is mostly concerned with borrowing and lending. And basically on Compound, when you supply liquidity, like in the stablecoin, for example, or if you borrow, you will get a share of the daily rewards in Compound.
Hmm.
And so
It's
this
another
at
Ponzi.
first doesn't sound like it needs to be worth $300, right?
Right.
Um, the interesting part here is that the votes that are being cast, they are about things like, let's change the collateral factor of this asset or of this asset. So how much like percentage weight can you borrow against a supply of that asset, for example? So that can change the dynamics greatly. So if you got control over those votes, you could like do something like treat some shitcoin, like for example, BAT is on there, and BAT has been heavily used to farm comp recently. So you could make changes to in the governance that favor some shitcoin over another, and you could actually move markets with that. So that's a valuable thing in of itself, although it's kind of cheesy. The other thing that's obviously possible in the future is that the community votes a profit share into the token. Like it's not there yet, but in the future it could be there. The community just could just put up a proposal in that regard, and that's a very very smart way for a development team and for founders to get around the SEC. If like you didn't list the security, you created a decentralized protocol, and the users at some point in time changed that protocol in a way that would make it a security would it had it listed that way. So that's actually one of the reasons, in my opinion, that the speculation on Compound is very very intense.
It looks like he's gonna fall off a cliff soon.
That's it's interesting. They have a proposal up at the moment actually that could push a lot of the like leveraged yield farmers out, which would probably be good for like price consolidation.
Yeah.
I like that. I like what you're
You see
drawing
that
right
idea
there.
there? Something like that. It doesn't have to be precise, but
Yeah,
if
obviously
it does
the
this,
big
a similar move to that, I think it goes for this one here, like this structure here, that one, because people are gonna be looking at this. It's not that far of a dip there. I mean, if it dumps in between here, like around 150 and holds on, I'll be paying attention there. But
mhm.
I think optimal entry is like 125 to 150 in that range, and see if it can kind of get its footing. If it does, this could have some great potential, for another move. But
Yeah.
we have the clear complacency shoulder here. Tried to make a new high. This was a fake out. This is the biggest bull trap. When you see that happen, look at the volume there as well. Um, the next move after this one is nasty. So clearly, you're going from 350 to 190, $150. It's like almost 40%. So just keep your eyes open on this. When you're trading something that's bullish and you see some price action like this developing, fails to make the higher high, that's usually a time to kind of move up your stops, take some risk off. Don't get caught holding this forever. Meanwhile, look, guys like Quincy are bringing up something like Ample. I don't know what the fuck that is, but what I can tell you is this is a bullish
Meth
chart.
faces.
You know,
Yeah.
so you can either hold on to comp and say this is going to take me to the moon and wait 2 months for it to resolve its shockwave, or you can move into something else that's clearly bullish. Like look at
Yeah,
yeah, this
also
is
depends on how liquid you need your
yeah,
coins to be.
this is
Obviously,
true.
Compound now is widely traded. You even
Yeah,
got futures on
Coinbase, you can get in
FTX.
and out of that. You can exit, wait for it to show you some better signs, and then even potentially buy a little bit higher. That's one of the biggest changes I made from like when I first started to now is like I don't mind buying a little bit higher. As long as then I'd rather be sure about something and like get out if I'm unsure, and then once I'm sure I'll buy higher, and then the move is usually like I'll know if I'm right or I'm wrong right away, and it's way easier to like kind of define your risk. So like for instance with VeChain, we were talking about VET, and when it got to 100 sats, I was like, you know what, I'm out. I want to see what it does here, and it's been it's actually looking very good right now. Might as well pull that up. Sorry to shift you guys off of Uniswap, but just for a little bit of TA for the guys and the gals. Um, VeChain, right? So made this move over 100, 105. That was kind of where I was looking. This area. I got out and I said, hey, if it can take out this high right here of 110, then I would expect it to make another move and kind of enter into this range. But being that it's stalled right at the bottom of this range here, as well as this high here, I figured it's going to need some time to work itself out. So you know what? If it keeps going, then I'll have to buy a little bit higher. But let me get out now and kind of look at something else, like Pundi. So we buy Pundi now. Pundi. No, just kidding. But now it's swept down. We retested what 85, that held. It did a fake out here, got more support at 87, so you had another shot at that. Now it's starting to build up momentum again. Look where it is though. This could be that. So comp. So we have this bounce, right? So that's why I'm not ready to dive into VET right here. It could be doing this, okay? You see? This is stalling. It didn't make a higher high yet. But if tomorrow or today, if this daily continues and we start to break above, like if I see it at 106, I'm pressing the green button. And all I missed was what? This is like 2 weeks of price action where I might have sold at a loss down here. It got stopped out. And all I sacrifice is 5% of profit. And then when I enter, I'm feeling very confident that the move will continue. So, yeah. All right. These guys, wow, we really brought the Moon Boys out for this one. And, because I just give them a
No,
jewel and like they're like talking about what's going to 10x. And I guess
no,
that is
no
kind
one's
of,
asking about damage. I'm actually on that.
yeah, this is kind of why I feel like it's appropriate that we do a Uniswap video, because if you look, you'll see that there's only 36 people watching. It's not like everybody's up on this. Like if
Yeah.
somebody else did a Uniswap video, someone like you or like VO Maximalist or one of these guys that have been around for a while that I have some good faith in and trust, did something on Uniswap, I would tune in and watch it because it's like I want to learn more about this shit because I can see what's going on. But, I just threw it out to 70,000 people and we got 33 people here. So that's how you know that this is still the game you want to be playing. I saw
Yeah, it
Ian
is.
Bellina had mentioned it or something, but the fact that there's only 30 something people watching this, which means people are still sleeping on this. And that's good for the 30 people watching right now. And it's always going to be like that. So,
Yeah.
okay, back to
Yeah.
Uniswap. Tell me more.
I actually recently walked a dojo member through making some deposits to yield farm on balance and on Curve
Yeah,
to other
DMG looks very
platforms.
bullish. I mean, it's just this is a good looking play. I mean, this
Um,
is the type of stuff I like to play. It looks like this, not bad.
and and we noticed how if you like try to Google for some a little bit more specific issues, you
Oh, there's
find
nothing.
nothing,
There's nothing.
right? You find nothing on Google, and
Like,
and
you know what
he
people are
he's
like? We're so
he's
freaking
following
early, guys. We're
he's
freaking
following
early.
Reddit.
Like, we're
Yeah,
literally early on this right now. And
he
we've been telling you about this for a couple months now. Stillman wrote
yep.
that article. Nobody read it. That's how I knew this is like where you want to be. Fuck Binance. Fuck Bittrex is actually doing pretty well, but
Yeah.
like
Actually,
literally, this is where you want to
Compound
be.
started shortly after,
Yeah.
and it's a zero sum game. Like especially the yield farming thing. If you reveal too many of your secrets or like the best place early, you will get a smaller share.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Don't
right?
don't give
It's a
them
zero
too
sum game.
much.
So
We're not gonna walk
um,
everybody through how to do it here.
no, but like Compound, that play is over. So something I could show you that is useful. It's another link that I gave you is InstaDApp.
Insta.
Can you bring that
Is
up?
it balance exchange, balance pool, smart account? Oh, Insta app, Instadap. Yeah, I got it.
InstaDApp. Let me bring it up too so I can.
Compound, borrow lending, MakerDAO, borrowing.
I'm still waiting for the stream to catch up. It's the delay is pretty heavy.
Uh-huh.
But this time I want to watch it on your screen so I can see where you're moving at least a bit.
These guys are still talking about the weed. I was just messing with people. Like, what the? I didn't expect this type of a response.
Yeah, so Rum says Uniswap is a new ICO. They do OTC pre-sale. Yeah, it's actually some of these newer listings, they do a smaller pre-sale or seed, and then they would use a swap pool with something called a bonding curve for their public sale. They have a certain amount of liquidity that they provide for the public sale, and while people buying, they have this curve adjusted that automatically increases the price in increments. So that's actually a modern way of doing token sales right now. So yeah, good point, Rom.
Yep.
XHV
Fucking
10x on Bittrex
XHV.
out of nowhere. That was actually great. Like Jake actually 2 months ago he had plays on XHV, but they're more like trades. But
Yeah.
we had
I didn't
one
see
member
this
who
coming.
went pretty heavy on it, and
It's
it,
just
it was
like
it was a great play
every
because it
time I
was
look at the chart, I'm like, this looks good, guys. Like this is
yeah
about to pump, but
yeah
I feel like I've said that 6 times, and every time it just like goes for another leg. It doesn't stop. The fucking coin.
yeah yeah, and
XHV.
it's that was a great play
It's
on
crazy.
like decentralized finance that's not based on Ethereum. That's its own thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it also had like a lot of FUD, the restructuring the team, so you could actually pick it up at these
Yeah.
super low prices, and that's also why it pumps so hard now. So yeah, InstaDApp. So InstaDApp is pretty cool because it allows you to access several decentralized finance protocols at once and they created some pretty amazing tools to do like farming with leverage, for example. So it's a
Farming with
it's
leverage.
oh yeah, it's super dangerous. But it can also like it was very very useful when like the first days of compound yield farming. If you did it with leverage, you got a lot more out of it. That's what I did. And you just deposit funds here, and then you go to the compound thing there on top, like next to the dashboard, make a DAO and compound. And when you're on there, are you on there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go to
when you're on there,
Okay.
you can supply some of your funds in here, deposit. And once you have that, you can use this max comp mining tool on the right. And that thing, so because
Do
we don't have
four
well
x your
connected,
position.
we can't actually pull it up. But that thing allows you to take out a flash loan on MakerDAO, I think, borrow against that flash loan, and because the for the borrowing, you paid higher interest than you got like rewarded by supplying on compound, but you also got a higher share of the rewards in comp tokens. So you wanted to borrow as much as you can. So you took out the flash loan, you borrow against that supply, basically. And the way it worked, it even gives you a risk calculator. And once that risk calculator goes to 75%, it liquidates you.
Oh.
So as you were using during that time, like the highest rewards were in USDT borrowing. I think you were using stable coins like DAI and USDT to do this. The risk was within an okay like margin. Because these stable coins, they do lose their peg from time to time. Like DAI can like drop up to 4%, even 5%, but you can factor that in. And the other thing you need to factor in is that you will like pay interest, so your liquidation also gets closer doing that. But when you monitored that and you were like 5 to 10% below your maximum risk, that was doable. So then the compound mining shifted to BAT, and that's when I stopped, because that was like then shifted, and then you got the most rewards there. And I don't think that something super catastrophic happened with it, but it would have been absolutely possible to liquidate everybody, like everybody who doesn't know what he's doing, basically. And I put myself into that category to a certain extent too, because it wasn't like I'd been doing this for ages. I was also like trying stuff out. So I was like, okay, that's not what we want to do here. And that's when we were already started with a balancer. Before that came out, Balancer had like another like banger Uniswap listing. That thing went from like $1 or $2 to $22 in a day. Pretty crazy. Balancer is Balancer's governance token. You can bring up the Balancer page too if you like.
Balancer. Oh, about this.
Balancer.exchange.
Yeah.
And that one looks pretty similar to Uniswap, right?
Balancer. This is on the Uniswap Vision. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the
Did a crazy pump and
Balancer.exchange.
then shit, this is wrecked. But
Oh, are you looking at the chart right now?
yeah, yeah.
The Balancer chart? Yeah, that got pretty destroyed.
But
They
it did
have
like a
weekly.
9x. The odds of you getting the bottom on this is quite low. But
Yeah.
you could have on this dip here. I mean, even if you got in here, you got like like nearly a 2x right away, very like in a matter of hours. Like if you haven't noticed the volatility on this what would you call it, a DApp, I guess,
A
is
a decentralized
yeah,
exchange,
this
I'd say.
DEX
Still.
is extreme. I mean, it's extreme volatility, and that's what we like. So B Root says, I mean, come on, man, dude, you're a wild dude, man. Like, Ample isn't that bullish. It's only up 100x. I mean, 100%. Like, okay, but like, what do you mean? You look at this chart and you say this isn't bullish. Like, I don't understand. Like, you need to like, come on, man, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
Like something is bullish before the fact, not after the fact.
yeah. I mean, what are we talking about?
Um,
Come on.
so yeah, so Balancer, pretty similar UI to Uniswap, as you can see. It's also the same thing with the pools, but the pool management is much more
Balancer.
intricate than what you can do on Uniswap. I gave you another link to that directs to the pool
Balancer pool. So Balancer is
Balancer
basically like a
management.
competitor to Uniswap.
Yeah, you could say that, but also these platforms are going to um, they are going to compete for the users' liquidity, basically,
Ah.
right? The centralized exchanges are doing it too, but they don't know it yet. Um, and these they have also like interesting ways where they like intertwine. Um, and you can do cool stuff like what I showed you with Instadap. Like that thing is executing like, I don't know, like 7 to 8 Ethereum transactions, moving funds around across several protocols. swapping things on 1 inch, and
Rom said
taking
balance
that.
got exploited a couple times this week. I would assume
Yes,
that a lot of this is exploitable. I mean,
yes, like in the way, like it wasn't actually balancer. Like everything is fine with the balancer smart contract, with those pools. It were two specific tokens, two deflationary tokens that have a mechanic that allowed the attacker to empty all the wrapped Ethereum in those pools.
here's what I can
Um,
say. Sorry, this shit is like it. Like for the people that are like show me something. This is too complicated. Like this is literally crypto. Like this is like the essence right here. Is the fact that it's not like if you told your dad or your grandma to go like figure out how to do this, they couldn't do it, and that's what makes it a good risk reward because literally it takes a little bit of effort to understand what's going on. It's not going on to Coinbase and buying Ethereum. You know, you can buy Ethereum. Ethereum's, that's way more liquidity. It's a safer investment per se, I guess. Even though it lost 90% of its value, so it's still risky. But there's liquidity. You can get out. You can buy. You can sell when you want. But if you're somebody that's starting out in crypto and you have $500 or something, not a big amount of money, and you want to really kind of like change your life, you're not going to do it most likely by going on Coinbase, by going on Binance. Like you gotta like kind of go the extra mile. Um,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and
like
once
and
once this
that's true,
becomes
true
simple and
for all
everybody
these.
knows how to do it, it's no longer going to be the same opportunity. That's why I'm bringing it to you now. I brought it to you months ago, but
Yeah,
it's
and
still
that's and that's
something worth
that's
learning.
that's in particularly true for like the Uniswap plays, that there isn't even that much liquidity to get in. Like if you're early, you can't buy it that much.
Right.
So
It's better. It's
so
better
it's
suited for
actually
people
it's
with
actually
smaller portfolios.
perfect for smaller plays. The yield farming, not so much. Like you're either super early on something, which I think for most things that ship has sailed. Like there are a couple of small plays, but um, you're either super early or you need to have a lot of capital. So you get like a major share in these pools, and then you can also farm the most of these reward tokens, for example. Or you just are heavily hedged in stable coins anyways. Your portfolio is big and you have like a big stablecoin hedge, and you use some of that to earn interest on it over the year. It's not like sexy crypto 100x. That's more like if you're managing that smart, you can get way better interest rates than on your bank, in your bank. But obviously, it's not the same thing. But for people with a lot of capital, it can be a very, very powerful way to make use of hedges that you would have anyways, basically.
Right.
Um, so yeah, the yield farming definitely is a whale game, and also an information asymmetry game. So that's why I said it's
So
a
I think
zero
I think
sum.
I think we've covered Uniswap enough. I really appreciate you coming on to do that. See, people that are watching still don't even get it, and the audience is quite small. So, hey, I mean, I'm gonna be doing this shit like the next day. So probably as soon I'm gonna go find my MetaMask password and get on this because, I know what I'm seeing and I've seen this before. So hopefully you take the effort to look into it. Obviously, Stillman knows what he's doing. He's helping people out doing that. But we've been going for what? It's been a long stream. We'll go through a couple charts, I guess, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay,
Said
sounds good.
so I had Tron up. I was watching this one. You got your Adam and Eve structure going on here. Um, kind of a modified crash cycle here that capitulated, made a low, did a fake out, back to the neckline, made a higher low, and now we're making a run here. Um, I would say it's kind of you could play it, but it is coming up on resistance here. But I've seen this structure before. It looks pretty good to me. Um, I the safest thing to do would be to wait a little bit and watch. But this if this resolves and breaks past this high here, I think there's going to be a pretty good move on this actually. And it seems like with Tron 4.0 or whatever, people are kind of sick of it. With 3.0 and all this other shit. Warren Buffett lunch, everybody was kind of like hey, is this the time that Tron does something? But now it's kind of like been written off completely. So, you know, when a coin gets like that, I start to pay attention. Um, Jason's asking about Zill. We've been talking and playing that one. People were telling me this is a cup and handle. They were calling it an inverse head and shoulders. I just said this is probably a top. It got back to this neckline here, stalled there, I mean, on this same stream, I was with Stillman. I said, right here, this can 2x. You know, we hit 308 from 160. It's pretty damn close. Stalls right at the neckline here, just like V chain. Hey, we're at resistance. I'm out. I'm out. I'm not fucking with this. If it comes back around and then breaks that high with momentum, then I'll re-enter. I don't mind doing that. I'll buy it 10% higher or 5% or whatever the case may be. But when we kind of get to resistance and you get a rejection like that, I don't wait. You know, that's the difference. I'm not going to wait and hold and wait to see what happens. So this is kind of nasty looking here. It was a good bounce, but you're probably going to get some more sideways action. It could even go lower. I would be a bit cautious here. I expect there to be some sort of bounce that's a little bit better than this eventually, but it may have to retest this low. So if we go back to, let's say, about 177, 178, and that holds, I would give you the thumbs up to play at least a short-term trade. And if you want to go long-term, that's cool too, but I wouldn't let it go much lower. You'll probably get a better entry or be prepared to average in. Not a strategy that I really recommend. Let's see. What's up, Don Bitcoins? ADA hit the 1,000 sats like we expected. That's been pretty bullish. Let's see. What's Cardano up to? Looking great from what I remember. Yeah. So that's a very healthy looking candle there. You don't need to press that green button just yet. Wait to see what this does. I mean, most likely it'll retest 1,000. Like when it breaks a number like that, there was significant resistance. It got through, but it'll usually retest it. If it goes to like 990 or 1,000 and that holds on and then it starts to recover out and starts to form a structure that we like to play, I would say that's a good time to get in. If this blows the top off of this, you know, this can continue a bit, but we are coming up on a resistance area. So I would be careful here. I mean, there's potentially more room, but, you know, it is coming. It looks bullish. This is good looking. But, you know, timing wise, you would have been better off to have bought here, like 950. It's kind of like what I'm describing with Zill and VeChain. Once it takes out this top, this is a significant level. We have 2 rejections right there. Nice wicks. Kicks everybody out. Then it starts to work its way up. It's back here. Closes right there. So when we zoom in, see, closes above this line here. And we're here. And then takes off. So like that's what I mean by I'd rather get out somewhere here in this red candle, wait to see what it does. And then once it starts to get some support above these closes, that's like a sign. It's not always going to work. Sometimes it'll dump out of this, but that's a play that has a high enough probability that I'd rather enter. And knowing that, you know, you're going to find out if you're right or wrong right away, and you don't need to give it too much room there. So yeah, sell. I don't know what that is. That might be some small shit. You talking about the stock, or is that a crypto?
Celsius.
Israel. Cellcom Israel. Rom. Celsius Network.
Celsius. Yeah.
Are you sure that's what he
One.
wants?
I think so, yeah.
What's the ticker for that?
CEM.
Sell BTC. Yeah, well. Yeah, this is on a pretty bullish run, clearly.
That's like DeFi OG material. Celsius. It's pretty bullish right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Strong. It's a strong move. Clearly a bullish chart. This is nice. Let's check it out in a different resolution. This isn't a great sign. Um, you know, let's see. I don't love what it's doing right now. It may need to kick some more people out and retest this level here, or even sweep that. I mean, I wouldn't be a buyer this second on that one, to be honest. Um,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I mean, that move up has been pretty inefficient. Price will like to fill that and
Yeah,
find some area to
yeah. This
test.
is. It could keep going. Like if, but I don't
Yeah,
know
I
what the
mean,
liquidity is on this. I don't know what its market cap is. Um, but just looking just purely at the chart, it looks like it's still kind of in a dangerous spot. Like you could probably enter and swing something here. You might be able to get 10-15% and then get out. But if you're playing this expecting the top to go and for this to go to, I guess, 10,000 sats would be next. Um, your odds are probably in favor of you taking a more conservative entry and waiting a little bit. That's yeah. I would give it some more time. It's like when you play something like this and you do a 3x or something. Like it's like you're like a fucking bandit. Like you just robbed the bank. Like you don't need to return to the scene right away. Like take your money, go away, go
I
somewhere else,
like
go
that.
rob a bank in a different state or something. Don't come back to the scene of the crime to like kind of get greedy and get them again. Just keep it moving. You can set alerts on TradingView or whatever. Just keep your eye on it. But I found that it's healthier when you make a great trade. Just walk away and look for something else that was kind of in the same setup that brought you to this one, as opposed to saying like I'm going to get as much out of this as I can, because that's kind of when people get greedy and let's say you enter here, it dumps, now you start to average in, and it just keeps dumping and it does something like this and it comes around and then it goes here and then you buy more here and then it does that and then it goes like this for like 6 months and then you sell here and then it takes off. Like that can happen. So if you bought somewhere in here, like this would have been a clear sign to buy. Um, this is a bullish structure. We're over these levels here, kind of similar to what I was describing. This is nice. I look for that. This breaks out. As soon as this breaks up here, this is bullish, right? And it even does a retest here. It gives you a chance, kicks people out. This is your golden entry. As soon as you buy there, you're just fucking going to the moon. And you're selling with something small like this, you're probably going to want to set orders, like spread them out, however you want, but set them in advance so as it pumps, it fills. And once you have nothing left, you just walk away and wait for it to show you something completely undeniably bullish or promising, and then you can re-enter. But my guess is before this does that, you'll be able to find different coins that are showing you something like this structure here, that I'd rather play that than figure out when this is going to stop dumping. So that's kind of the way I see it. Anyway, Stillman, any charts you want to cover? I think I'm about done here.
No, I'm good.
You're good? Yeah, you did enough work. So I hope you guys
Yeah,
enjoyed.
we didn't even get to the sweet next play, but
Oh, the
yeah,
what?
the
Should we
what? The sweet next play?
the sweet next play? Should we do it? I don't know.
Nah, that's okay. We've been going for long enough.
Uh, I don't even. After this stream, you gotta tell me what you're talking about because I'm confused.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm dead serious when I say like, obviously we didn't walk you through it and say, hey, here's how you do Uniswap. It's not, you got to do a little bit on your own. If you're serious about doing it, like if you walk into markets thinking somebody's going to do everything for you or everything's going to be super easy, then you're going to have a bad time. So,
Yeah, and I mean, people dropped some interesting tickers, like even
yeah,
in
I'm
the
paying
chat
attention to
today.
what these guys are
Like you
putting.
can check those out, and you will see some of those have already done like a 10x, and they want to dump on you. But
Yeah.
there might be like one or two in there that are just starting. And with Uniswap, as I said, the liquidity isn't super high, so it's basically kind of a I'm ready to lose all of this, all of what I put in
Yes.
move.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you will get like an exit scam or just something that doesn't work and you're stuck. And sometimes you will hit that 10x. And I think that's how you need to play it. It's very asymmetrical, so you risk not that much of your funds, but you can get a very very high return, and then you can compound that
Yeah,
as long as
if
the
you put
system
all of your
lasts.
funds into the first one, like there is a reasonable chance that you'll lose all your funds and be out of the game. So you don't want to go crazy, with something like this. But if you're putting portions and taking shots, all you need is one of them to hit, and it can change your whole portfolio. So don't go overboard with this. But there's a ton of opportunity in my opinion there. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we brought like this analogy up today with in the dojo with somebody like who was asking about portfolio management, and I came up with that a while ago. That in a sense, obviously we are doing like TA and FA to mitigate randomness in trading. But if you assume that there's some randomness involved, and with these like shitcoins on Uniswap, that's definitely the case. Then I like to compare that to turn-based strategy games like XCOM, where if it's true random, then you can have strings of bad rolls that last quite a while. Like you
Yes.
can have, I don't know, 10 shots that miss in theory. Occasionally it will happen because that's just the nature of like real randomness. And that's the same in trading. You need to be prepared to have a couple losses in a row. They will come, and they aren't supposed to knock you out of the game. You want to mitigate the risk, and that's where position sizing comes in. And stop loss, obviously, but stop loss is on Uniswap. I doesn't make
Not a
that much
thing.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's on Uniswap. It's mostly position sizing where you control your risk and
It's kind
manage.
of like playing options.
Hmm.
Like you basically you take the contract or you play. I don't know what you would call it on Uniswap, but with the expectation that it'll be worth zero. Um, that's kind of how you would structure your risk on something like that. What's up, Optimistic Prime? Optimistic Prime, my man. What's
The
going on, buddy?
house.
Good to see you. That's the by a bee's dick. That's his thing. So WRX. Yeah. So looking at this, zooming out, like this isn't normally something I would be like, this looks great. But because you're like, you have, just gonna do this. Like this, we're below that. I guess if this was the capitulation, not too significant. Like I would expect this to eventually go a bit lower, but what I do like about it is the volume profile as the buys are starting to pick up here. So if I zoom in a little bit more on the 4 hour. Well, when you look at it like that, it doesn't look too significant. But from a buy to sell perspective, you could definitely see that the buys are starting to pick up. And he's saying that there's some sort of event in the next 2 days. Not sure what it is. What is it? Token. Oh, a token burn. Yeah. So for this, I would look. If you're gonna play it, like this area here, anywhere between here and here could be like a major bull trap. So, like here, I know that's a wide range, but like it can get above this and people will really FOMO in. But like in between here, that's where I'd be looking to sell. Because looking at this, it doesn't look. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't look done to me. It doesn't look like it's done. But I'd be willing to shift. If we can get above like 2,000 sats on this, and it starts to like kind of like lean up, and crosses this, like 2,000 sats is where I start to be like very open to this being quite bullish. Um, and then over 2,200, like it's got a decent chance. So I would keep an eye on those levels. I don't know anything about this coin, just looking at it. But yeah, I mean, it could pop up there. I wouldn't be too shocked. But on the higher time frame, it doesn't look fantastic to me just yet. It could do either. So that's how I see it. All right, so might as well do RSR. Check out RSR. So RSR is, people were calling it dead down here. There were a lot of "I told you so's" going on around here. You know.
Big time.
Saw a lot of "I told you so's" from people that didn't have it in here. Told you. And it's starting to move again. I'll keep an eye on this one. Like I said, this doesn't look like the ultimate top. I feel that eventually this wave breaks. It may take longer. It may, take some time here. But eventually this wave breaks, in my opinion, and I think you see this go for a nice run. But you don't want to buy this second. It's not great. This would have been a good time to participate, obviously. I mean, easy to say after the fact, but right now I don't see a play here. But it's getting there. It's getting close. It's getting close. Let's check out this. I mean, we this was the entry, or no, this one. Where was it? Let me see. So as soon as it crossed 41, I was bullish. I'm like, this is fucking bullish. But let's see. This right here. This was the Stillman entry. This was where I said, hey, you got to have a bag of this.
38, that
Yeah.
wick down to 38, yeah. And that was the second, that was the
on
entry
stream.
where
This was on stream too. I was like, yeah, this is probably the dip here, guys. And
yeah. That was the entry where we added, and the big position was at
like 28.
28. Like there was a huge bullish divergence going on, hovering there for a while.
That was a crazy knife catch here. Right here.
Yeah, that was great. My lowest order was like 38 something. I had like from 40 down to 38 in that box.
Sweet NXT play.
And that's actually also something that not everybody likes to do, is adding to your winners, buying higher,
Yeah.
buying more higher. That can be very, very powerful. But not everybody,
You're right.
everybody
It
likes
means
to
you're
do
right.
that.
If you're buying something and you keep buying it as it goes down, like, oh, these prices are cheaper and cheaper, I gotta keep buying. And I'm not making fun of you because like I've been there, I've done that. But you're wrong and you're unable to admit that you're wrong. So you're just gonna keep throwing your money at something that you're wrong on. Like if you buy and the price starts going up, it's like, oh shit, I was right, Like then you could buy some more now, like it keeps going up. Okay, I'm right about this. This is bullish. Like that's probably what you want to do more so than buying when you're wrong. You want to buy when you're right, like adding to your winners. And to do that, you have to have appropriate position sizing, because if you start doing that and all of a sudden you're all in, like that's not good either. But you don't want to start buying stuff that keeps going down. That's how you end up in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, but like if you do something like plays on divergences occasionally can go on for very long. And then you just, have like the opportunity cost of sitting in there. It might be worthwhile to open a position there, but going full size means you lock everything up and you don't perfectly know when it's going to happen. And also they can fail, obviously. So adding more when you saw confirmation that your thesis was right. And at some point on Twitter, I said this is like one of the most bullish charts out there right now.
Yeah.
And then when it happens, you see that your thesis is like working, and that's when you can deploy more capital. In my opinion, it's a smart way of doing it.
Yeah. So kind of similar to what I was showing with VET. You have this line, you have the top, breaks down, falls down, then it starts to build up its momentum. Make a nice little move here, pops out of it, another one here. As soon as it comes out of this one, I mean, you're already above. This is the key level for me. But as soon as it comes out of this, it's pretty blatant that this is going to go up higher. And that's where you can add and then take off. But, you don't have to. If you're just constantly looking for like 5x, like you may hit one, you may hit it eventually, but you're going to lose a lot of your opportunity cost and time and capital really just waiting and waiting and waiting for something that may not happen. You have to be okay with the reality that, the coin that you're in may not do a 10x or a 20x or whatever you're looking for. So, that's why technical analysis is important, because you can look at something and have an understanding of exactly what it's doing, and then also know where, at what point is it not doing what I think it's supposed to do here, and that's pretty much what we do now. So, if you're interested in learning more, obviously we've mentioned it, we do have the private group, the dojo. Myself, Stillman, Cardi, Chris, Shavi, trade in all markets. I'm not twisting anybody's arm. We have a great time. It speaks for itself. And if you're interested and you want to learn more, and you want to get more serious about what you're doing in this market, check out the website, kjcryptodojo.com. You can always DM me on Twitter if you have questions. I'm very open. Very big on customer service, I guess you would call it. Like, I don't, if you don't like it, this hasn't happened in probably over a year, but nobody said like, hey, like, I'm not getting value out of this. Like, that doesn't really happen. So, you can always hit me up if you have questions, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. But I stand by it. I think we do a fantastic job, and if you're serious about doing this, that's the place where you want to be. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. We hit an hour. I'm gonna jump off, and thank you so much for spending your time, Stillman. I know where you are in the world. It's very late, and I